This is Herbert from Fritz Schlammerk, and you're listening to Jugend Radio.
Jugend Radio, episode number 10. It's a happy anniversary. This is Chibester from Jugend Sängerknaben Wien, bringing to you yet another episode of Jugend Radio from the gay capital of Europe, in Cologne, in Germany. We are going to be mad. Mad in how far are we going to be mad? Well, we are going to be talking to TJ Motor City Madmen about how much provocation is there still left in punk rock. Well, I don't know, but I think that discussion will help me understanding the whole issue and giving me a proper answer to that. We will be also talking to TJ Madrid in Spain to get some information about what's happening with Tourbillon in the south of Europe, in Spain, as well as we will be having an awesome piece of artwork, the MVP of my jacket. It's a new standard, I can say. It's a new standard for patches on a kutte. It's done by Tourbillon Scumlahoma. And it's a really, really wonderful patch. It's a masterpiece from Oklahoma, and we'll be looking at this one as well. So I strongly suggest relaxing, sitting down, opening up your pants, and quietly awaiting Jugend Radio, episode number 10. How much provocation is still left in rock and roll? It's an everlasting question, seemingly. And with me at this time to discuss this very, very actual topic is from Tourbillon Motor City Madmen, Dritzek, which is Norwegian for dirtbag.
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Sure, no problem. So maybe you can say, introduce yourself to the audience, because I understand you play in a pretty famous band over there in Detroit, and you have quite some experience with antics on stage. Maybe you can tell the audience about your band, what you're doing in the band, and then we'll get it on from there.
Sure. Well, my name is Dan. They call me Danny Dirtbag, Dritzek. I play in a band called the Meatmen. I'm not an original member, but they were formed in 1979 by Tesco V, who is also the founder of Touch and Go Records and the Touch and Go fanzine. And if you want controversy and madness on stage, it's generally, associated with a band like the Meatmen.
What makes the band the Meatmen so famous for their antics? What are they actually doing on the stage?
Well, first of all, you start off with songs like "Tooling for Anus," "Crippled Children Suck," and you kind of go from there. So you only imagine, the stage show involves, a Dutch man who's about 6'6". I don't know what that is in meters. Wearing just his underwear, hitting crowd, members of the crowd with dildos, all the way to having, confetti ejaculation cover the crowd in a blissful wonderment. It's kind of it's a pretty wild show.
Is that still the way the show take place these days, or is that from back in the days?
I think back in the day, Tesco was a little bit more brazen with his costuming, as he used to wear, just his underwear, and he's just, he's a large man, so a large man in pink skivvies is pretty creepy. But as of now, we still do a lot of the things that the old lineup used to do. I'm the one that's taken on wearing my underwear. I at some point in the show, I tend to, drop it all and end up in my Speedos. We have a large confetti cannon penis that we, again, shower the crowd with. There's a lot of foul jokes here and there. We have a song that was originally called One Down, Three to Go about the Beatles, but we've adapted to Two Down, Two to Go. And Tesco has, he's kind of famous for these little throw rags that he has with a lot of his catchphrases on them. And he has a Tracy Lords That Time of the Month pillowcase that he lifts up, and it has, Tracy Lords in all of her glory with a little trickle of blood coming out of her pussy. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah. So I understand that the times have changed because with I remember back in the 80s, I think the Beastie Boys had a big giant penis thing going. There was Gwar, the band Gwar, doing sexually related stuff. And from my background, I know there's a band from Austria. The Austrians will know them definitely. The band is called Tradivabel. And I have been to concerts where people were being urinated at. They had hookers on stage, so they were doing live fucking, live urinating, live ejaculation. They threw up once in a plastic bag and threw it in the audience. They threw bottles in the audience. This was, well, I mean, unfortunately the singer has passed Parkinson now and he's not doing really well. But this went into the late 90s, and you had 3,000 people watching live sex. And you had all sorts of juices going. There's a band Tradivabel from Vienna. They are hilarious and famous for them. But they also, and this is why I'm trying to ask you, they also had lots of problems with some politicians who obviously wanted to get them off stage because of the way they behave, and which is obviously not good for society, at least in their point of view. So I'm asking you, have you guys since times seem to get a little bit stricter as far as regulation goes, at least in Europe, have you had any problems, or can you tell that the regulation is getting stricter and stricter?
Well, with the Meatmen, I don't think they ever crossed the threshold that, somebody like G.G. Allen crossed, where, that he is perfectly comfortable and prepares himself every night to shit on the audience. Whereas, you may get hit in the head with a dildo, but, you're crazy if you touch your own shit. So that kind of bums out a party. So I don't think we ever took it as far as the live sex and all that stuff. It's more of a party atmosphere. But I will say that most of the negative reaction has come, from, the song titles themselves, where somebody just really can't handle it for some reason, and it just sets something off in them. But, we've never, well, short story, G.G. Allen wrote Tesco a letter from prison. He said, Tesco, compared to me, you're a fucking poser, blah, blah, blah. Kind of ripped on him a little, and Tesco said, you're right, Gigi. I'm a poser compared to you because I don't cover myself in shit and I don't fuck my brother in the ass on stage. So I guess I'm a poser.
Yeah. What? No response then, or?
I think that was the end of the conversation. I don't even think Gigi was around for that much long after that.
Okay.
But, I missed most of that stuff, but from what I recall, from what I've seen, it was a party atmosphere. There was some wildness, and you've got your hardcore punks that are going to tear up a place if they want to tear it up anyway. But for us, it's about the good time. It's about, singing about poop and boners, and, not necessarily, it's more like a living cartoon than it is a live sex show.
Okay. So I get the picture, since, there's are there certain borders that you're not crossing? I mean, if I hear the titles like The Crippled Children Sock and Toilet Slave, which goes more into the G.G. Allen story, the one you were just telling, or Pope on a Rope.
Yeah.
Is there any border you would not crash, being a punk rock metal oriented band, which usually are politically maybe not.
Sure.
not left, but closer to the left side than to the right side?
Sure. Yeah, we last year we played a thing called the Hamtramck Blowout in Detroit, and it's a small Polish community, and it's very well known for the Pope visiting 20-something years ago, Pope John Paul. So we thought that was a perfect opportunity for us to dress as Tesco came out as the Pope with a noose around his neck, and the band was nuns and priests, and that was, we came out to the Ave Satani, and then and then we performed in nun and priest costumes. But as far as being politically correct, Tesco in the 80s was pushing for that. He wanted to be as controversial as possible, and there's still some things that people really rub people wrong. But at this point, I think it's more about, doing songs about what actually pisses you off. You don't want to marginalize people anymore. I don't think you don't want to put people in a bad predicament, or, everybody can get the humor. Maybe not everybody can get the humor of crippled children suck, but I think you're right. In today's society, it's a little bit tougher to attack a general group of people, even if you're being, facetious, even if you're making fun, or you have to make very clear that, this is a joke. We played in Germany, quite a bit on our last tour, and we had some confusion. They would come up after the show and they're like, "Are you fascist?" We're like, "No, we're funny. These are jokes, you guys." And Americans definitely probably have that crude sense of humor that we just assumed would translate anywhere we go. And we had some genuine concern. We have a song called "French People Suck," and it was just a response to, I believe, the French not sharing their airspace with the United States. So we wrote a song called "French People Suck," and that actually upset some people on the western side of Germany.
Really?
Yeah, closer to the French border.
I get it, yeah. But
still, are you being nationalist? Like, I don't know. Are we?
Yeah, it's sort of weird that when you cross the border to Germany or Austria, it's for some reason it's always that argument of fascism or Nazi. It's so easy to not easy, but it's always so close to use that argument and ask the one question is, are you a Nazi? Are you a fascist? Because they, for some reason, whenever somebody is talking something like what you assume is pretty critical or not correct, it's always in the Nazi bins. So for some reason, I don't really get it, because the French fought the Nazis fought the French and vice versa. So it's sort of interesting that it's always as political stuff comes up with in Germany. Obviously, I understand the whole thing, and it's good that people are aware about the right wingers, and I'm actually happy about the general development, that people have a general sense of more than maybe in other countries, that the right wingers are supposed to be banned or worst thing for society, maybe more than in other countries, because we have been taught, and I can speak from my personal experience, we have been taught to disrespect any right wing content and
Sure.
movement. So that we were really brought up on being anti-right. Not that of course, as in every country, we will have the stupid right wingers marching the streets on some day, but not as much as people would think in Germany. So
we're full of hate, but we direct our hate towards the right people. There's no, we have no interest in fascism or racism or sexism or anything like that. And if we're making fun of somebody, we're making fun of everybody else too. So, there's nobody safe from Tesco V's sites. Everybody is insulted equally.
Yeah. So, but obviously, when you were just mentioning that you guys are all wearing or Tesco being a large man, and you dressing down to your Speedo, so you probably also have to have a certain amount of making fun of yourself, or the ability to make fun of yourself, which also plays, as I see it, much into the whole True Yugen thing. Going, shifting.
Yeah, Oh, sorry. I mean, our body is just as much of our art, as our mind is. We don't take ourselves too seriously. So, I mean, Tesco V calls himself the gay Al Bundy. I'm kind of a broad-shouldered guy, and I was getting some, people acting aggressively towards me at some hardcore shows. I ended up getting into a couple fights, and I'm not a violent person. I don't want to fight, so my way of diffusing it was actually, getting the Speedos, You guys are so worked up and you want to fight so bad. I'm not so sure you're going to want to grapple with a sweaty, half-naked man.
In Speedos.
In Speedos, exactly.
Yeah. But this is exactly the point that I'm going now to Turbo Negro, and all that homosexual touch to it, to the whole band Turbo Negro back in the days, back in the 90s, when, I don't know if you've ever seen the picture, but there's this pretty, I think it's even on an album, it's that pretty famous picture of Hank, tongue kissing the GFN from Trubig and Bayou City. He's a tattooed guy with a nice mustache and a bald shaved head, and tongue kissing, Hank on stage. And I also own some footage from old concerts, and I think it's somewhere in Texas, where they would really get into shouting, like arguments with the audience, because obviously there are some people like asking them, seeing them for the first time and asking them in a small club if they are racist or if they have never seen a nigger. And Hank answering really in a provocative way, and also some woman shouting some stuff from out of the audience, from the audience. If Turbo Negro is against women because they used to act so gay, but this is back from the days, and so I understand that Turbo Negro also. I mean, the band Turbo Negros, being person, like individuals and persons, they grow up as well. So they, as we know, they changed from a like denim wearing, denim only wearing, sailorman oriented band with a gay touch, just to separate themselves from all the other death metal bands in Norway back then. And this is exactly the effect that you're describing. But just by putting on Speedos in your band, there will be this will keep people from actually wanting to pick a fight with you, because at this point it's so obvious that you're making fun of not only the audience or of what you sing, but also of yourself.
Yeah, and of punk rock in general too. It's like, after a while, you can only wear your spikes. Your spikes probably only mean something for so long, and in the case of Turbo Negro, what is more punk rock? When I first heard Turbo Negro, I was like, who is this? This is amazing. They're like, oh, they're a punk rock band and they're all gay. Yes, I love that. No, my other buddy, no, they're not all gay. They're all just cross-dressers. And I'm like, yes, this is fantastic. Thank you. Because it takes, it takes balls, to stand out, especially in the climate I'm sure that Turbo Negro is in. And in the Meatmen's case, there's a song called Tooling for Anus. I keep bringing it up, but at the time, rock and roll, 1979, was in full swing, and the rock clubs didn't want to have hardcore punk at all. So the only clubs that would have bands like the Meatmen, Negative Approach, would be the gay bars, and the gay bars love the debauchery, and basically it came about from, how come there's no, punk rock songs about gays, and a lot of people, you read the lyrics to Tooling for Anus, and it sounds like, violence against gays, but it's also making fun of himself, so there's that really fine line that sometimes it takes, somebody's interpretation the wrong way, or they get it, and if you get it, you're a Meatmen fan, you've abandoned, a lot of your predispositions, and maybe let yourself have a little bit of fun, you know?
Yeah. So I mean, if you look at the media nowadays and you see all this Miley Cyrus chick riding a wrecking ball on the video, I mean, she's probably better off riding my balls and wreck them. But anyway, she's riding a wrecking ball nude, and nobody seems to care. I mean, maybe some 14-year-old girls, but after seeing two videos, they don't care at all. So it's kind of, I understand the punk rock and compared to the early stages of the movement, and the changing of the times, it's kind of hard to still provoke. And if you see, maybe you can go to Exploited concert, and Exploited live is pretty tough. So just from a physical standpoint, but from an optical or visual standpoint, it's kind of hard to provoke, because nowadays you can just walk into like a Louis Vuitton store. And you see a guy selling you Louis Vuitton bags wearing a mohawk and having tattoos all over his body. So seemingly nobody cares about like what is a tattoo nowadays. Like in 20, 30 years, you will go to a public beach or a public swimming pool, and you will have all the 70-year-old guys and not girls, but women, old elderly women with a full body of tattoos. So that this is not going to work anymore. So it's I think that it's actually the antics and it's really kind of hard, and it's an innovative process to really decide of how you can provoke on stage. Mm-hmm.
I think, what offends me most about Miley Cyrus is her lack of talent. You know, if you're going to have some, pop star out there, at least give her, some abilities, or, I would hope that she would be hot or something. Her videos are the least of my concern. If it was somebody hotter up there, I'd be even better. But, as far as style and fashion, I think, especially in the, the days of the internet that we're living in now, a lot of people reduce themselves down to their little square or whatever picture appears on their Facebook profile or whatever, image they want to put out. Everybody can craft their own image so well, that you don't know, it doesn't have any roots. They saw it in a magazine. They saw it on the internet and they said, I'll look good in that. And you know what? That's cool. I mean, if you want to fly your freak flag in whatever way you want, I think that is the coolest thing possible. But what sucks is when somebody's wearing the band T-shirt and they've never listened to the band, or if somebody's just wanting to be a part of something so bad on the outside, but really on the inside could care less. We played a club in Venice in Italy, and it was so strange. Somebody was walking around, a vendor was walking around with punk rock, like, bracelets with the studs on it, just selling it. And I was like, what in the flying fuck is happening here? But it was all style. It was all fashion. They were at the rock club because it was fashionable. They weren't at the rock club because they love rock and roll. They were playing some bullshit. They would play something good, then they'd play some garbage. And we just realized, this isn't about rock and roll. This isn't about good rock and roll. This is about style. This is about trends and fashion, and the music just falls to the background, and I think anybody coming up in punk rock, or at least from a musician standpoint and a lot of fan standpoints, we love the music, and, you don't want to judge anybody. You don't want to isolate anybody or, but sometimes somebody's just not where they belong, and people need to find a place where they belong, like the Jugend, If you find yourself in the Jugend, I think you immediately belong.
Yeah. So did you put some extra pepper on the show in Italy to get those people, this fashion victims all screwed up somehow?
Well, they were that was kind of a tough crowd, as I recall, but I remember just being angry. I just remember wanting to just brutalize them, to the point where there's almost nothing you can say but let your music and your work speak for itself. So I just remember it was one of those things like, let's just kick their ass, let's show them, because that's the only way you can show them, man, is by giving a fuck about what you do. If I go up there and I don't give a shit, they're not going to give a shit, so even if they don't care, at least I was sincere, and I can.
So how would you describe your experience with the band Turbo Negro? Because we've been talking about Turbo Negro quite a bit now. And so have you ever seen them live? What was your first experience?
Yeah, they actually came to Hamtramck, which is a small city within Detroit, and they played my favorite venue, Smalls. And it was the greatest night of my life. I lost my mind. I drank absinthe and whiskey all night. I sang my fucking balls off. It was the greatest night of my life. And then, fast forward a couple years later, before I had joined the Meatmen, I was in an opening act called Chapstick. And at the end of our set, I looked up, and Nick Oliveri and Happy Tom were standing right in front of me. And apparently they had driven from San Diego to Los Angeles to come and see the Meatmen. And that's when we first found out that they were fans. And since then we've been in a little bit of contact with Tom, and, Tom basically said that, the Meatmen were a huge influence on Turbo Negro. I can't speak for him, but, I can see, some very similar elements, taking place there.
Okay, so it's obvious that the band Turbo Negro really took some, like, the aspect of, maybe also the aspect of provocation from the Meatmen. So they got some sort of example of how you can do it, and how you can work your, like, the aspect of provocation into their live show.
Yeah, it seems that way, and it seems like they took, that little aspect and just turned it into, what is just, a worldwide phenomenon at this point. There's still people that, consider the Meatmen, the scum of the earth, or one of the original scum punk bands, so to see Turbo Negro turn it in such a beautiful, tender flower that it is, I could see the influence there. And I mean, being able to talk to those guys and, is just a big deal for me. I'm such a huge fan.
Yeah, I guess that being in a band that can really or is known for as having influenced Turbo Negro in their development is a pretty cool thing.
Oh, yeah.
I heard that you guys are gonna be playing at the Las Vegas Punk Rock Bowling Extravaganza.
Yeah, that's going to be our national record release party. We have a new record, the first Meatmen album of original content. There was a cover album from a few years back, but the first new Meatmen record in 18 years, and the Punk Rock Bowling show is going to be our national release party. It's a sold out show at a place called the Las Vegas Country Saloon, right on the strip there, and it seems like it's going to be pretty wild.
What day is that going to be?
I believe that's May 26th, if I'm not mistaken.
So it's the Sunday. It's the Sunday of the Las Vegas Punk Rock Bowling event, right?
Yeah, it is actually the final night. We're playing the Bowler Awards show. So there's all the bowlers are going to be getting their awards, and the Meatmen get to spray them with our ejaculate confetti.
Nice. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like good things happening back in Michigan, in the Detroit area, where you're Jugend is the Motor City Madmen, as the Jugend is called, is really getting it on. And I do thank you for your time. And I think we can conclude on this discussion on the fact that it's kind of hard to provoke nowadays, because everybody seems to be or tries to stand out, but what it really takes is some convincing arguments and the real actions, not the visuals. It's more about the actions, and if you do it on stage in front of an audience, it's going to work even better. But it's getting hard these days to provoke.
Hey, as long as people keep coming out to shows and they're willing to be entertained, we will jump through fucking hoops for you. We want to entertain you. Just get off your couch and get off the internet and, go see some grown men get naked. Why not?
All right, so you guys, you heard it. Get your ass down to Las Vegas or to any venue where you can see the Meatmen. I hope the Meatmen are gonna go come back to Europe, so I will also be able to check them out. But really, you guys dress up in denim and go see Dritzek from Jugend Motor City Madmen. All right,
All right, thank you.
I thank you for your time and keep the speedos.
All right.
Tooling for Anus by the Meatmen. Tooling for Anus is certainly not the worst idea if you're bored and hang around at home. Tinkering with your stinker is also a decent option to spend your Sundays while you're not listening to True Jugend Radio. So don't forget, the main message of the discussion was lipstick, rouge, and speedos. You cannot go wrong. We all want to keep punk rock provocative, and I think that the lipstick, the rouge, and the speedos might help just fine. So the next segment, we will be looking at the MVP, the most valuable patch of my jacket, as we go to Scumlahoma, Oklahoma City, to see, I have to say, the new standard of patches. It's a piece of art. It's a masterpiece that has been developed in Oklahoma. And yeah, keep your eyes and ears glued to the True Jugend Radio Facebook page as well as the audio segment right now, because the bar has been raised to unknown heights by True Jugend, Scumlahoma.
MVP. All right, what's up? I'm Turbo Houston from Turbo Jugend Scumlahoma. We're based out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, in the good old United States. Here to talk about our new patch today. It is a big-ass gold and black patch, and I'm going to just kind of describe it. It's got the shield that we're all accustomed to, pretty large, and then over the top and bottom, curved in the font from Apocalypse Dudes, it says Turbo Jugend and then Scumlahoma at the bottom. And the main part of the patch is an oil well, and it's got 6 cobra heads coming out. And then from the bottom of the oil well, there's like big eagle wings going up with tumbleweeds on either side. There's a skull and crossbones wearing the cap. Underneath that is the outline of Oklahoma with an anchor right in the middle. And then above, next to the cobras, there's got a circles that say OKC and USA, and OKC stands for Oklahoma City. That was pretty quick.
Yeah, that was quick, but I mean, it sort of describes the intensity of the whole patch. I mean, I've seen tons of over the years. I've seen tons of patches and tons of True Jugend logo and also shield logos, but also individual logos. But this one, I have to say, this one, your Haley sent it to me. This one really set a new standard, because it's like from a graphical point of view. It's so it's really, really intense. I mean, all the graphics you just mentioned with the cobras and with the oil. Is it an oil drill? Is that the word? An oil drill?
It's like oil rig.
A rig, yeah. So that's where they pump the oil out of the out of the ground, and you've got your skull in there. You've got nice wings. And then as you were mentioning it, I just realized, yeah, you have the state of Oklahoma in it, and a big anchor. And then it's amazingly filled with beautiful, beautiful rock and roll icons. And I have to ask you, who really? This is a new standard for a modern, contemporary Turbo Jugend patch. I have a hard time imagining that this patch can actually be topped. But the question is, who came up with the idea of it, and who drew this thing of beauty? It's because there's a lot of actual graphical work involved.
Well, the concept was mine, but I can't draw for shit. So it was mostly sitting around at college, fucking writing in my notebook, just doing, well, hey, I want the oil well with the snakes from the cover of Apocalypse Dudes. And I thought about it. We kicked it around in meetings for a while. And then we talked to a friend of ours who does some graphic design, a guy named Paul here in town. And he's not Jugend, but he's a good friend of ours, does some T-shirt printing and stuff like that. We said, hey, this is kind of what we want. You know, we showed him our first patch and some other design stuff we've had, and just said, hey, like, do what you want with this. Go crazy with it. And he really, really impressed us a lot. At first, I was kind of disappointed initially that it wasn't the snakes from Apocalypse Dudes, But once I looked at this, I realized that people would get the message, and I think the Cobras look pretty badass.
Yeah, more than badass, I think. And how did he really do it? Did he draw it on the computer with a graphic program, or how did he really piece it together?
I'm pretty sure that's how he did it. I didn't really get into much of the technical stuff with him. I can't even draw on a piece of paper.
Yeah, same thing here. So he did it on a computer, and he said it's a black patch with a shield, but it's a very, very, I think, a progressive interpretation of the whole shield, because as you see the patch, you hardly recognize the shield because there's so much going on the patch. And there's a question on the oil thing. Is Oklahoma an oil city?
We are a big oil city and an oil state. Actually, there's an oil well on the lawn of our governor's mansion here in town, so it's a pretty big industry around here.
Yeah, because I didn't really Oklahoma. When I hear Oklahoma, I would think of country music, but when it comes to oil, I would think of Texas more. But so that's the good thing is that as you dig deeper into the issues and topics of Jugend, you also get to learn a lot. So Oklahoma is it's an oil city, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of oil stuff going on here. It's a big part of the state's culture.
Okay, so and you called the Turbo Jugend is called Scumlahoma for all of them, all the people out there who do not know the word scum. What does scum mean?
We're just dirty, disgusting rock and roll filth that go around doing all the things you're not supposed to do and all the shit that you want to but you can't.
So that's a scum, right?
Right. It's just filthy, dirty nastiness, something to look down your nose at and something to snort up your nose.
Isn't Scum the Tappy Tommy or one of the Turbo Negro members had a band called Scum, right? Do you know that? In Norway, I think, just a few years ago.
I'm a baby, so I don't know a ton of that, but that's pretty cool. I did not know.
Yeah, I think he had. We can post it on the Turbo Jugend radio page if you guys out there want that. I think Scum was a band where Happy Tom played for a couple of years, at least a decent amount of time, like a side project of Turbo Negro, but it's slightly different. Well, not slightly, sort of different music, obviously guitar oriented, but a little bit more on the metal side, I would say. Yeah, but it's really an awesome patch, and people are probably dying to know how are people gonna get those patches, because are the patches actually out, or are you still in the middle of producing them?
We're still in the process of getting them made. We've got a proof for a pretty big one that Chuck did for us, and I think we're going to scale it down, try and figure out what details we can keep. But we're excited because we trust him a lot. He's the man at this kind of shit. But we do have a bunch of T-shirts right now that we'll be sending out soon. And once the patches get made, we're going to have a shitload of them.
How big is that patch going to be? Is that going to be a regular, like a palm of the hand size, or?
I think about that big. I think maybe I got a pretty big hand. I'm looking at it now, but I think we'll go with probably 4 by 3 inches.
Mm-hmm. And will the patch be available via Tubu mail, or are you going to be trading it by mail, or would you like to prefer trading in person and live trading, real live trading?
I like to trade in person as often as I can. So whenever I see people from around here, just the surrounding states, I make sure to do it face to face. But we're a pretty new Jugend. We've only been around for about a year and a half. So Turbo Mail's been really good to us, and we've got people all over the globe that we need to take care of for taking care of us.
How many Jugens does Oklahoma have? Just one? Just your Jugend?
Just ours, yeah. There's 16 of us.
16, okay. That's quite a good quantity. And are they all active, or most of them?
I would say on any given outing, there'll be 10 to 12 of us there, just depending on work schedules and whatnot. You get that many people, and it's hard to do. But everyone comes out whenever they can, and we're always together, even whenever there's not something going on.
Is Oklahoma a good music city as far as concerts and punk rock and metal goes?
It's a good place to see a band on a weeknight before they head to Texas on the weekend.
Okay, so they're touring through Oklahoma because they will be in Texas on the Saturday or Friday and Saturday night?
Right. So we get a decent amount of bands come through here, and we try to book shows whenever we can. But I would say it's not amazing, but we get enough good shows that I'm never upset because I had to miss something good, because it's far enough in between that I can always take off work or whatever. So it's kind of that happy medium where we've just got just enough good stuff to have something to go do, but not so much that you got to miss out on good bands because of too many shows.
Mm-hmm. Has Turbo Negro ever played in Oklahoma? Do you know?
I'm pretty sure they haven't. I think the closest was maybe Dallas a few years ago.
Yeah, they used to back in the 90s. They used to play a lot in smaller clubs in Texas, I think. And yeah, that could have been the time, but it's even obviously before my time in the Jugend, which started in 2003. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like a good place, and because I mean, if you put out a logo like this, I mean, this is a state of the art logo, which is just breathtaking. And I really do thank you for taking your time today to talk about that beautiful thing of a piece of art, and I cannot wait to possibly own it at one day. Maybe we can do Turbo Mail, or if I'm going to the States in the end of May and June, but I'll be the farthest point south will be Nashville, which is not really close to Oklahoma, right?
Yeah, it'd be a bit of a drive to Nashville, but I'll make sure you get one of these patches, man.
Great. You get out there, check out the logo on the Turbo Jugend radio podcast site on Facebook. It's a level. It's the bar. It raises the bar to unknown heights. It's really it's a new level. You can, if you're doing a new logo, just look at this patch, and this is the standard. I think you set a standard, and it's very, very hard to reach. So I thank you for your time and for the explanation. Awesome patch, and all the best for Turbo Jugend Scumlahoma.
Thanks, man. All your kind words just raised my boner to unforeseen heights. So I really...
Very well done, Turbo Jugend Scumlahoma. It's a straight A, a grade A patch, which really raises the bar of standards of patches. So Turbo Jugend's out there, invest your time, think, get some good artwork in, and you might join Turbo Jugend Scumlahoma as the MVP of my jacket. We started the podcast by talking to the Motor City Madmen from Turbo Jugend Detroit, and we're staying mad this time as we go to Madrid, which is the capital of Spain, and Spain is in Southern Europe. And I got the impression after talking to Turbo Jugend Milano in a recent podcast that the Turbo Jugens in Southern Europe are picking up the slack and are really becoming more active, because over the years I have not heard too much from the south of Europe, and I have, prior to this conversation with Turbo Jugend Madrid, I have not heard much of Turbo Jugend in Spain. I only heard about bull riding and bullfighting, actually, and this is not on the number one thing to do on my list. I certainly would like to ride a Turbo Jugend sailor from Madrid, and I got the chance to talk to two of them, two beautiful sailors from Madrid. So here we are, going to the south of Europe this time. We are heading to the beautiful country of Spain. We're heading to Madrid, the capital of Spain, as well as, I think it's Manchester this weekend, because you just moved there. But you are from Turbo Jugend Castello. But I'm just asking you to introduce yourself to the audience. Who are you, and what function do you have in the Turbo Jugend?
Okay, my name is Jota, and I was crazy for joining some Turbo Jugend in Barcelona. And as I didn't have so much results, I was looking for people in the Turbo Jugend site, and I found some guy in Valencia near where I am. And the thing is, we've been talking about that, and he said, "Oh, just create yours. Don't try to get him with some place they don't answer you." Then I create Turbo Jugend Castello, and I'm the president, and I have 3 guys more with me. That's it. That's the thing.
So, okay, you're a four member Jugend, and your warrior name is?
Yeah, my warrior name is Beard Demon.
The Beard Demon. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not only you. With me at this time and with us at this time is also the president of the Turbo Jugend of the capital of Spain.
Sorry, it's just the sound was cutting.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm just asking you to introduce yourself to the audience. You're from from Madrid, from the capital of Spain, right?
I've been talking with Marco, and then I joined him. I joined Mad City with him.
Okay. So the beer telling you are founded Turbulent Castillo, and then you moved to Madrid. Is that right?
I moved to Madrid because I had a job, and well, I will explain later if you want how I found Marco and all that, and we started to talk about things and that.
Okay, but so Marco is now the president of the Turbulent Mad City, which is Madrid.
Yeah.
And your Marco's warrior name is the Bad Stroke.
Yes, my warrior name.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes,
I'm the president of Turbulent Mad City. I started a chapter in 2007 or more or less. It happened something similar to Jota because I was interested and I wanted to participate in something like this. I was really into Turbo Negro music and culture and everything. And then I tried to contact with Madrid to Madrid, but it was impossible. I've seen some guys open a chapter some years ago and they quit or whatever, but it was impossible to contact them. Mm-hmm. So the only way I had to start or participate in Turbo Jugend was create my own Turbo Jugend. Then so I started Mad City.
Okay, so before Mad City, there was a Turbo Jugend in Madrid, but you tried to reach them, and it's the usual thing. The old Jugends, and you tried to reach them on turbojugend.net, and for some reason nobody answers, and eventually you founded the Turbo Jugend Mad City, and then you joined. You founded? Was it you that founded Mad City, or was it the beer demon?
With the demon, I met him last year, I think, no, in November. October. I was really a funny situation because I think it was a Halloween night. We went out, I went with my friends, and then when I was in a club, somebody told me, hey, there's a guy with a jacket like yours. I said, what? So I was looking for him, and finally we met. We never met before, but it was a really fun situation. We started to talk, and we had a really good sensations together. And then we start to talk about doing things about Jugend, Mad City, Castellón, and try to move a little the thing here because it was a little stopped.
Mm-hmm. So the activities were not really going well in Madrid. So you met in the club and decided, okay, you want to change this in Madrid.
Yeah, I think we need somebody else here for move the thing the scene because I felt a little alone in this
big city. So you felt alone in the big city of Madrid, and then you joined up.
Yeah, it's not really big support on this. I think people is more into another kind of scene or more in punk garage. Metal, I'm not sure, but I don't feel really a big support. I think it's complicated to move something here related to Turbo Jugend now. It's true that a few years ago I had a band before called Cracking Austin, and we were invited to participate in as tribute. Mm-hmm. But in this moment we split up the band, so we didn't participate in this album. But of course, it's still people in this, but it's less as I like or expect. I think you must start the things by own because not too many people around to support this.
Okay, so is there? But eventually you founded the Turbo Jugend Mad City and you tried to get some activities going in Madrid. And we were talking before that you also had your first Turbo Jugend event in Madrid.
Yeah. The thing is, as I went to Madrid, I was going for maybe 6-7 months. The thing is, when we found ourselves that night, we've been talking about all that, and we said, oh, before I leave, we wanted to make a party, a Tubo Human party, because obviously we don't have much people that is with us. So before I leave, we just made it. We put the data, made the poster, and just prepared the music and all that. And with it, we have some pictures on Facebook about the party.
Mm-hmm.
They're fun. And that's it. We did it.
So
wasn't a big party, It was just seeing the people that was coming from other Jugends. Well, all the Jugends, just La Nueva, but they were very nice. And we've been all the weekend together. And well, the party was something more in the weekend, but I think the great thing was join other people from other Jugend.
Yes. If you go take us back to the party, how many Jugends did really attend from Spain? Because I have the impression that Spain is not a big, at least my impression is that Spain is not a big country for Tuba Jugend. But eventually you found some Jugends joining your party. Which Jugends were they? Can you just take us through the most active Jugends in Spain at the moment?
Look, as I've been looking and messaging people through the website of Turbo Jugend, I sent an email to Galicia. I don't know if she's a girl.
Mm-hmm.
The girl of Bilbao also.
Mm-hmm.
And well, obviously La Nueva. I'm in contact with them. There's another chapter near Zaragoza, I guess. They answered, but they were not very interested. He told me he couldn't assist, but wasn't very talkative,
Yeah, so that's true. You can Bilbao, right, and Zaragoza. Is that right?
Yeah. Maybe I don't know if it's Zaragoza was near. I don't remember. And the guy of Valencia, Francisco, he was the first person I found, and he was very nice all the time. He was super friendly and was very nice. Thank you for him. I did mine, and that's it. And I have many information, because if you're in Spain, you're trying to do something like that. I don't know. I think not now, because I think we are a little bit more awake.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it took me a lot of time and mailing to people, trying to find somebody, because I thought I was alone. I said, "What? What's that?"
Mm-hmm.
Even I've talked with Van Diemen and Chuck, and they told me about La Nueva.
That's true. As a Tuba Jugend La Nueva, this is also a Jugend from what part of Spain would that be?
From Asturias.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. Ronnie for Power is the president of Tuba Jugend La Nueva. I know him from 2007 because the forum, Tuba Jugend forum.
Mm-hmm.
I was in contact with him, with the president of Mallorca, Sara. I was in contact with them. But then I was sometime not in contact with them, and I think in November we start to talk again, because with Jota we start to move the things, and it was really funny, him. And I told you before that, in April I go with my band Latin Fantas, and we play in the party of Turbo Jugend La Nueva. They organize a party.
Mm-hmm.
With food, drinks, and the concert. It's going to be a nice event, I'm sure. They party very hard. So,
they party very hard, yes? So that...
Yeah, I will survive. We will survive. We'll see.
Okay, so Tuba Jugend La Nueva is probably, because the only other Jugend that really parties the hardest in Europe, as I mentioned on the last podcast, is the Tuba Jugend from Praha. So there probably should be a contest of who is the harder drinking Jugend, La Nueva versus Praha for the European Championship in drinking.
Yes, they were strong. We had a little bit of problems to reach them,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're very strong dudes. Yeah.
Okay.
Big motherfuckers.
You were just mentioning that from a cultural aspect, it's somehow in Spain, lots of people are into punk rock and metal maybe and all sorts of music, but not into the gay-related Turbojugend death punk thing. Is that really the case? Would you say, and or why do you think would that be the case?
I don't know. I think, in my opinion, I think that people doesn't know about Turbo Negro, and that's why the thing. Even when I started to listen to Turbo Negro, I didn't know about the Jugend. I knew about the Jugend when I went to a gig, and I said, "What's that?" When I arrived home, I started to look in the internet, blah blah blah, blah. And I said, "Okay, I need this."
Yeah. So it just went. It's a typical effect. You go to the band, you like the music, then you go to a concert, and all of a sudden you see those jackets, and you say that this is so sick, and this is but still so good. I have to be part of it, and this is why you looked it up on the internet, and then eventually you.
Yeah. In fact, it's any other band in the world have that, maybe Kids, but no, it's not the same. We're very different, I think.
No. Nobody have fireworks from the ass, and you wasn't really interested in this kind of hot,
So it's all about the fireworks in the ass, but it's exactly my experience that usually because as I understand, you have a hard time getting new members in Spain, and this is why you set up the Turbojugend Mad City party earlier this year. Because on the one hand, you wanted to see the Turbojugend members from the rest of Spain, and I'm asking you, was there also the aspect of you do a party and hope you get new members for your Jugend?
We did a party because in Spain. You never heard about a party. I mean, the people from Nueva did, but I never heard about it. Mm-hmm. So we thought we can do something for people seeing that we are here, Yeah. That's why we did, I think.
Did you eventually get a new member out of the party? Like not Jugend people that want to join the Jugend after experiencing as rockets and whatnot?
Well, we asked some other guy sing in the party, but he said no. He liked Super Negro, but not joining the Turbojugend. I don't know why. I mean, people it's like shy also even for painting their eyes.
Yes.
We took a pen like that, the crayon, for painting our eyes and paint the eyes of the people in the party, and many people wanted it. But another didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, we're in a party.
But this is
right.
This is actually a really good idea if you want to really have a check of if somebody is fitting the Jugend, because as I understand it's about the music but also very much about the gay image and the irony about the whole thing. And if you're not a man enough to put on some decent makeup and want to look gay, you're probably not suited. Well, I'm probably insulting the or 50% of the audience, but I think if you want to be sure that somebody new wants to join the Jugend, it's a really good test if you want, if he's cool enough or easy enough to put some makeup on. And
I think it's not, you have to be sure about anything. I mean, if the thing, you see people, you should see the pictures. Like I was with a vest, with a hat, with the eyes. I look like a little bitchy. And it's like, what happens? You don't have to show anything to anybody. You just get fun and do whatever you want, no matter what happens.
Exactly. This is exactly my impression of the whole thing too. So, whereas Spain doesn't seem to have lots of activities going on in the Turbojugend scene, at least as of now. You're trying to change that, but the music scene is actually pretty decent. I know that lots of people are into the Ramones, and I've also heard about lots of really good Spanish bands. Namely, I've been to a Dover concert years ago. Dover, it's a Spanish band with a female singer, and I also heard about the Lizards. The Lizards are a female punk rock band. I saw them in Cologne, and they are also on a pretty cool Turbo Negro tribute album. It's called As Tribute. You were mentioning it before. It's a Spanish death punk tribute to Turbo Negro, which gives me hope that there's a good sense of for Turbo Negro, because there is a national sampler for Turbo Negro out there. What would be my question to you is what would be your preferred or best or groups in music groups in Spain that you would like to share with the audience? Maybe the Bad Stroke can give us an insight here.
In Spanish bands, like for me, the Spanish rock bands are a little bit different than all that. It's because maybe some rock bands are more related in political stuff, you know, and the metal bands, I don't know what to say about it.
If you want to give the audience your favorite Spanish bands, what would that be?
For me, a Spanish band that is a reference would be Barricada. It's a very good band, but they stopped last year in November. For me, it's one reference. What else? Platero y Tool would be.
Okay.
But they are not in political. It's more like lyrics, urban lyrics. What else?
But maybe we can. I'll post it on the Turbo Jugend Radio forum on Facebook. So if the Barricada, or I'll ask you later to send me the link, and we'll have it on the Facebook group. And how about you, Beard Demon? What would be your Death Punk recommendations for the audience?
My Death Punk recommendations from the Spanish bands.
I have some, I have some recommendations. From punk and something similar to Daft Punk, you can find Toracinas, Discípulos del Inicio. They have always a little aspect like dirty, vicious guys, you know, this kind of look. And this is really cool. But the punk in Spain is very related to the social fight, political ideas against the capitalism, you know, like in the punk bands, but it's a less festival, no, to Spain. But, for bands, for example, in the As Tribute, I know some bands from there, Lugers, Star Mafia Boy, there's Rock Glam too, but really, I think the punk is more focused to this, for the political ideas here in Spain. But it's a big movement of garage punk in Madrid and in Spain in general.
Yeah.
A lot of underground bands now, a lot of underground movements. They are more focused to the garage, not revival garage, but still punk, like more punk garage still.
As a garage punk would be the most popular thing going on in the country of Spain. I've heard that Turbo Negro is also planning their tour in the next summer, and they would also be playing in Spain. What can you take us to what event is that, and when is it going to be? Do you know?
This is in August. It's the same weekend that the World Tour did that. It's I don't know if it's the first or the second in August.
I think it's the 2nd of August, a Saturday, and you're perfectly right. It's exactly the weekend of the Weltturbo-Jugendtage in Hamburg. Yes.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? I mean, this is your favorite band playing in your country. So the question is, what are you guys doing on August the 2nd?
We're going we both are going to Hamburg.
You're going to Hamburg. That's the right answer. You've just earned yourself a big prize. Yeah. So okay. So I'm hearing that I can read, or I can interpret this as that Turbo Jugend beats Turbo Negro every weekend.
Yeah. So we'll go there. I expect they play on Saturday on the meeting. You know,
on the festival. What festival is that?
The festival is a Resurrection Fest, and the truth is an amazing fest this year because Turbo Negro is there, of course, but bands like NoFX, Testament Down, Creator, Obituary, Red Tank, uh, GB8, a lot of cool bands with a lot of history, and they are really fit for playing live. So it's really interesting. The moment we saw that, fuck, this is the Turbo Negro concert, and it's the same weekend than that Turbo Jugendtage. Turbo Jugendtage. So fuck, what can we do? But we were planning to go to Hamburg. I've been to Hamburg 10, 12 times before, and I love the city, and I wanted to go again with Jota and more friends if they want to join us. And I think we are going to keep this idea, and we'll go to Hamburg these days.
Yeah. So because Hamburg is a four. I mean, how many days you want to do, but it can be a 4 or 5 day event, and 5 days are more than one festival slot of maybe 45 minutes of Turbo Negro, even though it's our favorite band. So cool. I thank you, both of you guys, for taking me through the Turbo Jugend in Spain. And I thank you guys for your time. And I will see you guys in Hamburg at the Weltturbo Jugendtage. I cannot wait to hold you in my arms.
Good.
Possibly with makeup. And just keep up the good work in Spain. Thank you, Turbo Jugend Madrid, for your information about Turbo Jugend in Spain. We'll see you guys in Hamburg, I guess. Yeah, this it has been the Turbo Jugend Radio podcast, the episode number 10. We're double digits now. We have a little tiny anniversary. And yes, I'm convinced that I will be continuing my effort to bring you guys Turbo Jugend topics for your ears. And if you guys out there feel like having something to say and feel like spreading some news, just hit me up on my Facebook account under my Chibesta name, or you can also drop me an old-fashioned email to chibesta@turbojugend.org or radio@turbojugend.org, however you feel like. If you got some topics you want to discuss, or feel like you're like a real smartass and want to tell the Jugens out there how Turbo Jugend life is supposed to be held, don't hesitate and drop me a mail. I'm always mentioning the various Turbo Jugend events. We'll have the punk rock bowling going on in the States, as I mentioned in the podcast. We'll have some early summer events in Germany. In the beginning of May, we have an event in Kassel, in Hessen, in Germany, as well as 1 week later, a big boat ride in Berlin. It should be a real blast, to party Sex Pistols style on the River Spree in Berlin. So that should be a good party. So for all the German audiences out there, try to get to Berlin in the beginning of May. And after that, Turbo Negro is on concerts. They're touring Europe, and I hope there will be more dates announced soon. So I heard rumors about the Turbo Jugend event in August or late summer in Canada. I will be trying to get the guys on the Turbo Jugend radio within the next weeks. So live a Turbo Jugend life where you could and get out there, get your tiny whiny ass out there and look all pretty. And do not sit in front of your computer too much and do all the Facebook stuff, because the real life happens out there in the real world, which is outside, and it's gonna get warm and nice and whatnot. Warm and nice and whatnot. That's also Bengals. Bengals thing, as he is trying to educate us with decent music, and he did his homework yet again, has been a good boy, he will be presenting even this time after the 10th anniversary of the podcast, his personal cream puff.
The cream puff of the month, brought to you by Bengals.
To be honest, even if it's nice from Chibesta to say that I try to educate you, which would be really arrogant, my intention is rather to maybe bring a band to one of you who really likes them as much as I do. So for this episode, Red Fang. I saw this band by coincidence when they were touring Europe with The Shrine, the band that I originally intended to see. Both were a stunner. Why didn't I know anything about Red Fang? They were killing it. I bought all of their records on vinyl after the show, and they climbed way up to the top of my most heard playlists these days. There are so many awesome songs, but I choose the one that was outstanding at the show. So here they are, from Portland, Oregon. 6 minutes and 35 seconds of ear massage. Red Fang with Throw Up.